Hello, Low Budget Dave here. All of my other videos have been concerned with essentially weekend hobby matters. Primarily wood turning and a little bit of tool sharpening. This is not in that nature. This is a serious scientific inquiry on a Bachelor of Business Administration budget. I can't give you any science, I can't give you any math. But if this idea interests you at all, and it'll take about 5 minutes to explain. If this idea interests you at all, you can backfill with the science and math to your heart's content. This regards the nature of the force we commonly call gravity, and the particle we're looking for called the graviton. I do not believe that we'll ever find a graviton because I don't think there is one. Also, the force of gravity as an identifiable thing, I don't think it exists. Rather, what we call gravity is merely a description of what we observe that comes from an entirely different source. Begin with the what we commonly call the fabric of space, or the fabric of space-time. I like to imagine it as a fabric, like a bed sheet with a very, very high thread count. But for our purposes, the thread count has to be really, really high. Let us say that the fabric, I'm using like two dimensions because it's a whole lot easier to talk and describe in 2 dimensions. But the fabric of space-time could well be an actual fabric made up of, let's call them Planck lines, little tiny threads crisscrossing and each thread separated from the next by 1 Planck length. That's how I think of space and the fabric of space. Now, we talk about vacuum energy. And this little spot of energy that suddenly bursts into existence and then immediately is annihilated. Is it really annihilated? I think that the vacuum energy, these little nodes of vacuum energy, is what keeps these Planck lines all lined up, rank and file. The nodes of vacuum energy are the force that gives the space its structure, its shape, its size. And then we go on to microscopic particles, which we're told are always jiggling or rotating or spinning in some kind of way. It takes energy. And energy, once depleted, lets the system either fall apart or leaves the system looking for another source of energy. Do the vacuum energy spurts actually annihilate themselves or simply disappear, or are they perhaps absorbed by the submicroscopic particles which are searching for energy? So when the submicroscopic particles in a material body have absorbed the energy from a Planck node, which is in close proximity, the Planck node, the whole fabric has to shift a little bit to reestablish its shape, its size, its stability. And if we imagine a bowl of M&Ms, you take an M&M out, take another out, take another out, the whole pile shrinks imperceptibly. It rearranges itself and draws in upon itself. So now we have two spacefaring bodies coming into close proximity with each other. Let's say a couple of badly pockmarked asteroids all pitted with meteor pits. And each one has its own submicroscopic particles expending each its own little bit of energy and needing to replenish that energy by absorbing it from the vacuum energy from the Planck area between the two bodies. And when that happens, the fabric of space-time has to shift and reorganize itself and contract in upon itself. Disappears in effect, like the middle of that bowl full of M&Ms. And in the process, these two asteroids find themselves riding the space-time in and drawing near to each other as a result. So ultimately, I don't think that there is any such thing as a graviton, as a particle. Nor is there any identifiable thing as a force of gravity. What we call gravity is merely our description of the observation of things moving closer to each other because of the disappearance of space between them, because their microscopic particles happen to be eating up the vacuum energy that exists between them. I don't think gravity exists as we have. I will continue to think of it as a big bungee cord attached to two different bodies, and the bungee cord is shrinking and pulling it in. That's the easy way to think of it. But as a real thing, gravity isn't. It's just an effect. And if you find any merit in this, I'd be pleased. If you're a scientist, if you're a mathematician, if you can do something with this, I'd be pleased. Otherwise, well, it's been fun anyway. Thank you. Low Budget Dave signing off.